The evening heat in Port Harcourt was heavy and restless. The air felt thick as if the whole city was struggling to breathe after a long, stressful day. Generators hummed endlessly, cars honked impatiently, and people hurried along the busy Ikwere Road trying to beat the coming night. Streetlights flickered weakly as Ryan walked out of the University of Port Harcourt Library, carrying his worn backpack over one shoulder. Ryan was the kind of young man many people easily overlooked. He was simple, humble, and quiet. He lived alone in a small flat in Amadi Ama and combined work with school so he could support himself. But the one thing that made him different was his heart. He had a softness that pushed him to help people even when he had very little for himself. His friends always told him he cared too much. But Ryan believed kindness was never a mistake. As he walked home that evening, his eyes caught something unusual beside a closed shop. At first, he thought it was just a pile of old clothes someone had dropped by mistake. But then the pile moved. Slowly the figure lifted her head and Ryan froze. A woman sat huddled in the corner, knees pressed to her chest, arms wrapped tightly around her body as though she was fighting cold, even though the evening was still hot. Her long hair was tangled, her clothes were torn and dusty, and her face was pale and tired. But what drew Ryan to her were her eyes, sunken yet striking, filled with fear and exhaustion, but also something else, something he could not explain. He stepped closer, careful not to frighten her. "Mom, are you okay?" he asked gently. She didn't answer at first. Her breathing was shaky and her shoulders trembled. When she finally looked up, Ryan felt something tighten in his chest. She looked like someone who had been running for days. Someone who had lost everything. "Do you need help?" he asked again, his voice soft. This time she spoke. Her voice was faint, almost breaking. I just need a place to stay," she whispered, as if she was ashamed to even say it. Ryan felt the weight of her words. He looked at her again, truly looked. She wasn't a regular homeless woman. There was something refined about her face and the way she held herself, even in that fragile condition. Something didn't add up, but he did not push her with questions. He only felt concern. Without thinking twice, Ryan shrugged off his jacket and wrapped it around her shoulders. She gasped slightly at the kindness, her eyes widening with surprise. "Come with me," he said softly. "I live close by. I can help you. You'll be safe." The woman hesitated. Her fingers gripped the jacket as if it was the first warm thing she had touched in days. When she finally nodded, Ryan offered his hand. She placed her cold, trembling fingers in his, and he slowly helped her to her feet. They began walking down the road, and Ryan tried to make her feel less embarrassed. He talked about school, about reading late in the library, about how he had burnt his last cup of noodles yesterday. His gentle voice and calm nature slowly eased her tension. Soon they reached his quiet neighborhood. His flat was small, with simple furniture, but it was clean and warm. He opened the door and let her in first. "You can rest here," he said. "Let me get you some food." In the kitchen, he quickly warmed leftover jollof rice and chicken. When he returned, he found her standing awkwardly near the wall, as though she was afraid of touching anything. "You don't need to worry," Ryan assured her. "Please, sit, eat something." The woman sat down and looked at the plate with trembling hands, tears gathered in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered before taking her first bite. When she finished eating, Ryan gave her a towel, soap, and one of his t-shirts to wear. "You can take a shower," he said kindly. "You will feel better." She walked into the bathroom slowly, like someone dreaming. Ryan sat on the sofa, waiting patiently. He could hear the sound of running water, and he imagined her washing away days of pain, dust, and silence. When she finally stepped out, she looked different. Her face was no longer hidden behind dirt. Her hair fell loosely around her shoulders. Her eyes, though tired, looked clearer. She looked fragile, yet beautiful in a quiet, heartbreaking way. "My name is Ava," she said softly. "And I'm Ryan," he replied with a gentle smile. That night, she slept on his bed while he took the sofa. Ryan lay awake for a while, wondering what had happened to her. He did not know she was hiding a truth that would soon change everything. He did not know the homeless woman he had brought into his tiny flat was actually Olivia Okonkwu, the billionaire CEO of one of Nigeria's largest oil companies. He only knew one thing: he had helped her because it was the right thing to do. Little did he know. She would soon want only him. Ryan woke up before sunrise with a quiet stretch. His small flat was still dim, and the early morning breeze slipped through the slightly open window. For a moment, he forgot that he was not alone. But then he remembered the woman he had brought home, Ava, as she had introduced herself the night before. He sat up slowly and listened. His room was silent. He stood, wearing the same t-shirt he had slept in, and walked gently toward the bedroom door. He had given her the room so she could rest properly. When he pushed the door open, he saw her lying on the bed, curled up peacefully. The softness of her breathing calmed him. She looked much younger and gentler now that she had slept. The tension on her face had eased, and her tangled hair spread softly across the pillow. Ryan smiled quietly. Something in him felt relieved that she was safe. He walked back to the kitchen and began warming water on the gas cooker. He didn't have much, but he wanted her to feel cared for. As the water warmed, he fried some leftover bread and made tea. A few minutes later, he heard soft footsteps behind him. "Good morning," Ava said with a shy voice. Ryan turned. She looked clean, her hair brushed back, and though she was wearing his oversized t-shirt, she looked graceful in it. "Good morning," he replied with a warm smile. "I hope you slept well." Her eyes softened. "I slept better than I have in a long time." Ryan placed the tea on the table. "Come and eat." Ava hesitated, as if she felt unworthy of such kindness, but Ryan encouraged her with a nod, and slowly she walked over and sat down. She took a sip of tea and quietly exhaled as warmth spread through her body. "You really didn't have to do all this," she said softly. "I know," Ryan responded, "but I wanted to." Her eyes glistened slightly, but she blinked the tears away. They ate quietly for a few seconds before Ava spoke again. "Ryan, thank you for last night. I'm sorry for the trouble I caused." "You were not trouble," he said simply. "Anyone could have needed help. I was just there." Ava looked down at her cup. She wanted to tell him everything, who she really was, why she had been on that roadside, and how much pressure her life had placed on her. But fear held her back. She was not ready, and she didn't know how Ryan would react. So she stayed silent. After breakfast, Ryan stepped out to his small balcony to hang his towel. Ava followed him slowly, watching him as he worked with quiet focus. "Ryan," she whispered. He turned. "Yes? Why did you help me?" she asked. He shrugged gently. "You needed someone." Ava lowered her gaze. "Most people walk past." Ryan smiled faintly. "I'm not most people." She returned his smile, though her heart felt heavy with unspoken truths. Around mid-morning, Ryan prepared to leave for his part-time job at a printing shop in D-Line. He put on a clean shirt and grabbed his backpack. "Ava," he said softly, "I have to go for work. You can stay here and rest. There is food in the pot. If you need anything, call me." She looked confused. "Call you, but I don't have a phone." Ryan paused, then reached into a drawer and took out his small backup phone, an old one he no longer used. "You can use this for now," he said. Ava's eyes widened in surprise. "Ryan, this is too much." "It's nothing," he replied. "Just keep it until you are fine." She held the phone as if it was something precious. Before leaving, Ryan looked at her gently. "You will be okay, I promise." When he stepped out, Ava slowly sat on the sofa and placed her hand over her heart. She could not understand how someone with so little could show such pure kindness. It touched a part of her that had been numb for years. Hours later, Ava stood by the window, watching the neighborhood children play outside. She thought about her real life, the luxurious mansion in Bonny Island, the bodyguards, the board meetings, the pressure, the endless expectations. She had run from all of it after collapsing from exhaustion. She had wanted silence. She had wanted to disappear. But Ryan had found her. A gentle knock on the door pulled her out of her thoughts. When she opened it, a courier man stood there holding a small sealed bag. "Delivery for Miss Olivia Okonkwu," he said loudly. Ava froze. Her real name echoed through the small apartment. She quickly grabbed the package and closed the door, her heart pounding. Ryan did not know her true identity. No one in this neighborhood knew. How did they find her? She opened the package and saw her personal security phone, the one used only by her personal assistant. There was also a note inside. "Madam, we located you. Please come home. The board is waiting." Ava sank onto the chair. She was caught between two worlds, the overwhelming life she had run from and the peaceful life she had found in Ryan's kindness. But one thing was clear, she could not walk away from Ryan, not now, not ever. She wanted him in her life. And soon, he would discover who she truly was. Ava sat alone in Ryan's small living room, clutching the sealed package that exposed everything she had tried to hide. Her heart beat fast and her mind raced. She had come looking for peace, for a break from the life that had overwhelmed her. But now the reminder of that world was right in her hands. She looked at the note again. "Madam, we located you. Please come home. The board is waiting." Her stomach tightened. She did not want to return yet. She could not. Not after finally breathing for the first time in months. She looked around the modest room, the tiny kitchen, the wicker chair, the shelf filled with Ryan's old textbooks. This place didn't look like wealth, but it felt more like home than her penthouse ever had. A knock on the door startled her. She jumped to her feet. But when she opened it, her breath softened. It was Ryan. He carried a plastic bag of groceries and wore a warm smile. "I bought some things so you can cook whatever you like tonight," he said. "I didn't know what you like to eat, so I just got a little of everything." Ava stared at him, unable to speak. He had no idea how much kindness he was giving her without expecting anything in return. "Are you okay?" he asked, noticing her pale face. "Yes," she whispered, hiding the package behind her. "I'm fine." Ryan tilted his head. "You look worried. Did something happen?" Ava quickly shook her head. "No, I just feel tired." He didn't push further. Instead, he walked into the kitchen and started unpacking the groceries. "I want to cook for you," he announced. "You have helped me more than you know." Ava raised an eyebrow. "Helped you? How?" Ryan chuckled. "You make me feel like I'm not alone. That counts too." Her heart warmed. She wished she had the courage to tell him the truth, but she feared that the moment he realized who she really was, everything would change. He would look at her differently. He would see the money before the person. For now, she wanted to hold on to the peace between them. Ryan cooked a simple meal of rice and stew, humming softly as he moved around the kitchen. Ava sat on a stool and watched him, fascinated by how comfortable he was in his own little space. "You cook very well," she said. Ryan laughed quietly. "When you live alone, you learn quickly." They ate together, sharing stories, simple things about school, books, food, and memories from childhood. Ava found herself laughing for the first time in a long while. The heaviness inside her lifted. She almost forgot the package in her bag. After dinner, Ryan washed the plates while Ava wiped the table. "You know," Ryan said suddenly, "I don't know much about you." Ava froze. He continued softly, "You said your name is Ava. But where are your family? Do you have a place to return to?" Ava opened her mouth, but no words came. She didn't want to lie, but she didn't know how to reveal the truth yet. Ryan noticed her discomfort and stepped closer. "You don't have to tell me if you're not ready," he said. "I just want you to know that you're safe here." Those words made her eyes fill with tears. She quickly turned away so he wouldn't see. "Thank you," she whispered. Later that night, when Ryan went to shower, Ava sat on the bed and took out the package again. She looked closely at the sleek black security phone. It was specifically designed for top-level executives. The moment she powered it on, her location would be revealed. But then she noticed something else inside the package. A second note. This one was handwritten by a familiar person. "Olivia, the board is panicking. Your disappearance has made headlines. Please call me. We need to talk before things get out of control. Emmanuel, Chief Operating Officer." Ava, or Olivia, closed her eyes. She had spent her life carrying a company on her shoulders, making decisions that affected thousands of people. She had been praised, feared, respected, and envied. But she had rarely been cared for, and she had certainly never been loved for who she was. But Ryan, his kindness was different. He saw her, not her last name, not her bank account, not her power. She placed the package back into her bag. She wasn't ready to return. Not yet. The next morning, Ryan left early for class, leaving Ava with breakfast on the table and a handwritten note. "Thank you for being here. Please rest. I'll be back soon." Ava smiled at the note, but the smile faded when her phone buzzed. The old one Ryan had given her. She looked at the number. Unknown. Her heart raced. She answered. A familiar voice spoke sharply. "Olivia, where are you? We've traced your last location. Are you safe? Why did you leave without informing anyone?" Ava swallowed hard and whispered, I needed space. Space? The voice repeated. Your absence is affecting stocks. Investors are demanding answers. You must return immediately. I cannot, she replied in a trembling voice. Olivia, listen. She ended the call. For a moment, she sat frozen, staring at the wall. The outside world was closing in. Soon, the truth would reach Ryan. Soon, he would know she was not a helpless stranger at all, but a billionaire CEO with a world far different from his. And the moment he found out, nothing would ever be the same. Ryan returned home earlier than usual that afternoon. He carried a small paper bag of snacks because he wanted to surprise Ava. All day his mind had drifted back to her, her gentle voice, her quiet gratitude, and the way she seemed relieved simply to be safe. There was something about her he could not explain, something that made him feel protective. He opened the door quietly, expecting to find her resting. Instead, he found her standing by the window, staring outside with a tense expression. Her shoulders were stiff, and her fingers brushed anxiously against each other. Ava, he called softly. She turned sharply. Her eyes were filled with fear she tried to hide. Ryan, you're home early. Yes, he said, setting the paper bag on the table. I thought you might want something sweet. Are you okay? She forced a small smile. Yes, thank you. But Ryan wasn't convinced. He stepped closer. Something is wrong. I can see it. Did someone call? Ava opened her mouth but hesitated. The truth sat heavily in her throat. She wanted to tell him everything, yet she feared losing the peace she had found. Before she could answer, another knock sounded at the door. A sharp, firm knock, not the gentle knock of a neighbor. Ava flinched. Ryan looked at her with concern. Are you expecting someone? She shook her head quickly. No. Ryan moved toward the door, but she grabbed his arm. Please, don't open it. Her voice shook with panic. Ava, he said softly, you're scaring me. Who is outside? She swallowed hard. I don't know. But please let me check first. She stepped forward carefully and peered through the curtain. Her heart dropped. Black SUVs, 3 of them, parked across the street. Ryan noticed the sudden fear in her eyes. Ava, what is going on? Before she could respond, someone outside called loudly, Madam Olivia, we know you are inside. Please come with us. You have been missing for 4 days. Ryan blinked in confusion. Ava slowly turned to him. Ryan, she whispered, there is something I have to tell you. But before she could continue, the knocking grew louder, more urgent. Madam Olivia, open the door. Your security team is here to escort you home. Ava's legs weakened. She had hoped to delay this moment, but the truth had arrived at her doorstep. Ryan stared at her, completely lost. Olivia? They said Olivia. Ava wiped a tear from her cheek. Ryan, my name is not Ava. Ryan stepped back slightly, stunned. Then who are you? With trembling hands, she opened her bag and removed the package she had tried to hide. She handed it to him. Inside was the sleek black security phone and the note from her company. My real name is Olivia Okonkwu, she said softly. I am the CEO of Okonkwu Oil and Gas. Ryan felt like the room was spinning. He could not speak. Olivia continued, her voice breaking. I didn't lie to hurt you. I was tired. I was overwhelmed. I collapsed during a meeting, and instead of going to the hospital, I ran. I wanted to breathe. I wanted to feel human again. When you found me on the road that night, I was not running from danger. I was running from myself. Tears streamed down her face. I didn't expect to meet you. I didn't expect your kindness. You treated me like a person, not a CEO. I wanted to stay here longer, but... She looked at the door. They found me. The knocking stopped. A man outside spoke calmly now. Madam, we will wait downstairs. Please take your time. Silence filled the small flat. Ryan finally found his voice. So, all this time, you were a billionaire. Olivia nodded slowly. Yes. And you stayed in my small flat, ate my simple food, slept in my room. Her tears fell faster. I did, because it felt like home. Ryan rubbed his forehead, overwhelmed. This is too much. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Because I didn't want to lose this, she whispered. You cared for me without knowing who I was. You saw me, not my company, not my status. Just me. She took a step toward him. Ryan, I don't want to leave you. Ryan's heart tightened. But you have to go. Olivia nodded sadly. Yes, but not because I want to. It is because I must face the life I left behind. She reached for his hand. But I want you in that life, Ryan. I want you beside me. Ryan's breath caught. Olivia, I'm just a student. I live in a small flat. Your world is different. She squeezed his hand firmly. I don't care about the difference. I care about you. For a long moment, they stood there, eyes locked, both afraid of what came next. Olivia finally stepped back and wiped her tears. I must go now. But I will not disappear again. When I settle things, I will come back for you. Ryan swallowed hard. Promise? Promise, she whispered. She slowly walked to the door, opened it, and stepped outside. 3 black SUVs stood waiting. The security team bowed respectfully as she approached. Before entering the car, she turned back one last time. Her eyes met Ryan's, filled with longing, sorrow, and something deeper, something like love. Then the door closed, and she was gone. Inside the quiet flat, Ryan stood frozen, one thought burning in his mind. A billionaire CEO wanted him, and he had no idea what that meant for the future. 2 weeks passed, but for Ryan each day felt like a slow-moving storm. Life returned to its routine, lectures, shifts at the printing shop, quiet evenings in his small flat. But something within him had changed. He found himself pausing whenever he passed the corner of the room where Olivia once sat. He looked for her without realizing it. He listened for her voice even in silence. He had helped her without knowing who she was. But now that he knew, everything felt unreal. A billionaire CEO, someone whose face appeared on news stations and business magazines. Someone powerful enough to move the country with one decision. Yet she had cried in his arms. She had eaten his simple meals. She had slept in his bed while he made space for her. Most of all, she had said one thing he could not forget. I want you beside me. But did she really mean it? Or had her emotions been clouded by stress and exhaustion? Ryan didn't know. What he did know was this: he missed her in a way he could not explain. On the 15th day, as the evening sky slowly darkened, Ryan returned home from work, his shirt damp with sweat and his backpack heavy. He unlocked his door and stepped in. The air felt different, warm, scented, quiet. He paused. Someone was inside. His heart jumped and he slowly placed his bag on the floor. Then he heard it, the sound of soft footsteps coming from his bedroom. Ryan's breath caught. Before he could speak, the person stepped into the doorway. It was her, Olivia, but not the Olivia he had seen 2 weeks ago. She stood tall now, her hair gently styled, her face glowing softly under the room's light. She wore a simple navy blue gown that flowed to her knees, elegant but not too loud. Her eyes looked clearer, calmer, and full of meaning. Ryan, she said softly. He felt his heart leap. Olivia, you're here. Yes, she whispered. I came back for you. Just like I promised. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Emotion filled the silence. Then Ryan found his voice. How did you even get here? Without all the security and cars hunting the area again? Olivia smiled faintly. They are outside, but I told them to wait at a distance. I wanted to speak to you alone. She took a gentle step forward. I kept thinking about you, she said quietly. Every day, in every board meeting, in every news interview, even when I returned to my penthouse, nothing felt right. Everything felt empty. Her voice softened. Because my peace was here. Ryan felt something shift inside him. He moved closer, slowly. Olivia, I didn't know if you would come back. I almost didn't, she admitted. Not because I didn't want to, but because I was afraid. Afraid you would reject me. Afraid my world would overwhelm you. She lifted her eyes to his. But the truth is simple, Ryan. I do not want wealth without someone who sees me as human. I do not want power without love. And I want you. Ryan exhaled slowly as the words washed over him. You barely know me, Olivia, he said gently. I know enough, she replied. I know you gave me kindness when I had nothing to offer. I know you respected me, even in my lowest moment. I know you saw me, not my company, not my position. Just me. Her voice trembled slightly, and I know that since the day I left, I have not been able to breathe the same way. A long silence filled the room. Then Olivia reached into her small purse and pulled out a neatly folded envelope. I didn't come only to talk, she said. I came with something important. She handed it to him. Ryan opened it slowly. Inside was a letter, handwritten. Ryan, I want you to join me, not as an employee, not as a charity case, but as my partner, in life, in purpose, and in the future I want to build. Ryan stared at the letter, stunned. Olivia stepped closer and took his hand gently. Ryan, I love who I became when I was with you. You reminded me of kindness. You reminded me of humanity. You reminded me of myself. She inhaled deeply. I don't care if you live in a small flat. I don't care what school you attend. I don't care about social status. I only care about the heart that cared for me. Ryan swallowed, overwhelmed. Olivia, this is too much. No, she whispered. This is everything. Finally, Ryan looked into her eyes, deeply, honestly. And what he saw was truth. Not a CEO, not a billionaire, not a powerful figure, just a woman. A woman who had been broken by the world. A woman who had found healing in kindness. A woman who wanted him not because of what he had, but because of who he was. Ryan nodded slowly. If you want me, then I'm here. Olivia's eyes filled with tears of relief. I want you. I always will. She stepped forward, and Ryan pulled her into a gentle embrace. The moment felt whole, warm, and deeply real. Outside, the city of Port Harcourt moved on, cars honking, generators humming, people rushing. But inside that small apartment, time seemed to stop. A kind boy had taken a homeless woman home. He didn't know she was one of the richest women in the country. He didn't know she was a CEO who could shake the oil industry with a single signature. What he knew, and what mattered, was that she wanted only him. And now, he wanted only her too. What is your view about this story? Where are you watching from? If you like the story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.